Hey guys, Wes and Jared here from Destination EDM. We are actually here to discuss Asteria Music Festival with you. We are actually coming off of a musical high as we speak with our last festivals, but we're ready to go again.
Due to COVID, obviously we were locked up in the house for the last year, so I think this year's going to be I think this year's going to be a pretty big festival season for us.
Yes.
And we're moving right on into Asteria, like Wes said. So we wanted to kind of discuss the lineup. This was kind of a last minute choice for us. It is taking place July 4th weekend in Punta Gorda, Florida. It's moved around several times, but we'll kind of go into that here in a second. But again, something we just decided to do last minute. It's got a killer lineup, so we're going to actually be kind of going over that with you guys today, and then attend the festival, and then we'll come back and show you everything that it has to offer, post-festival. So let's go ahead and get started.
Asteria is in its 4th year, and we are actually going to be jumping back into some of the previous lineups and locations before we go into this year's. Alright, in 2017, Asteria actually started off at Sunshine Ranch, and that was in Austin, Florida, and that was actually a little bit northeast of Sanford area. The lineup included Sullivan King, Whipped Cream, Nitty Gritty, Joker, and Dev, and that's just to name a few. Now, we move on to 2018, Groveland, Florida. That's actually located in between Tampa and Orlando. It's directly east of Orlando, but kind of north of Tampa. So the lineup actually included that year was MLK, Heritage, Swarm, and Chime. In 2019, as the festival grew, it actually moved to Frontier in Central Florida, Camp Frontier, I'm sorry. And that's between Tampa and Orlando, but further south than like the previous year. So the lineup there included Disciple Takeover, Virtual Riot, Barely Alive, Feed Me, No Mana, Trifecta, and I.O. And that was as he was exploding onto the scene, which is pretty cool.
So yeah, that 2019 lineup is kind of what put Asteria on the radar for me when they had the Feed Me and the I.O. Because I knew I was like an I.O. At that time, and I think it was a little bit after that is when he played EDC Las Vegas, and that's when he really exploded.
Yeah.
But since we kind of just jumped into this video, we'll give you a little bit of information about Asteria Music Festival. They are known, or they do call themselves a boutique-based festival. So they do allow for a little bit more intimate experience, and what I like with Asteria is that the organizers, they're responsible for like handpicking all the artists that are going to be on the lineup. So it's not done by the artists submitting that or going to them. And obviously, if you look at the past lineups, they've done a good job at picking the up-and-coming artists, because a lot of them really explode right into the scene.
I agree, and it seems like the festival itself is also growing. It just proves on geographically they're having to move. So that's always a good sign for any festival when that happens. So
yeah, and I know it's growing in popularity. I don't know, because they typically limit their ticket sales to about 4,000 each year, just to keep it very intimate. The production looks pretty good. So I've looked at videos from the past, and I mean, is it production like a EDC Las Vegas or something like that? No, not on that scale, but for a smaller type festival, their production is actually pretty decent. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into the day one lineup. I will tell you that I probably know a little bit more about the artists on the day one versus day two, so you'll probably hear us talking a little bit more about them. But just right off the bat, the headliners for day one is going to be Rusko. He's an English drum and bass and dubstep artist. I've actually watched his set from the 2019 Lost Lands, and it was amazing, so I cannot wait to see him. One that I know he knows for sure is Ekali. We got to see Ekali for the first time when he opened for Rez at the Central Florida Fairgrounds.
That's right.
We both fell in love with him. He does a little bit of everything too. He's a trap bass artist. He actually played EDC Las Vegas 2019 Circuit Ground. We did not see him. I think he played like a little bit before or after Millennium, and I know that people fell in love with him. So, but he's a pretty big artist on this festival lineup. Next is Bonnie and Clyde. We got to see them first time, I think, in EDC Orlando 2017.
Yeah.
I'm not a big follower of them. They play a lot of electro, pop, and trap kind of stuff. They have a huge following in Florida. Anytime they come to like the Ritz, and they have a lot of people go to their shows.
Yeah.
The next one is Whipped Cream. She is really exploding on the scene. I don't know if you had a chance to see Whipped Cream or not.
Yeah, actually, we actually caught part of the ending set, I believe, one year, and it was actually pretty impressive. I was kind of blown away. I didn't expect it because each time you hear a new artist and you've never heard of, you kind of just walk up the stage and it's just like, oh wow, that's actually really good, and that's kind of what gets you listening to other things. So, and it's good. Check out some other people, that you've never heard of before. Just go to go to a random set, check it out. That's how my music tastes have grown, at least.
Yeah. I like to do the research. I like to watch all the videos online before I go. So, but Whipped Cream, she's Canadian. She's kind of a trap artist. I stumbled on her at Ultra 2019. I got there really early. She was playing the Ultra radio stage, and I ended up filming her. She tends to go heavy, so we had the opportunity to see her at EDC Las Vegas 2019, but we left her set to go see Dion Timmer over at the Bass Pod, and I remember we were regretting it because we could still hear her set from where we were standing, and we were like, darn, why did we leave? Because it sounded so good, and she's only getting better as time goes by. One who I'm not too familiar with, but I'm really excited to see is going to be Chet Porter. He kind of reminds me a little bit of San Holo. He has done a lot of collaborations with Alice in Wonderland. He's a really big up-and-coming artist, so he's going to be on my radar for this one. The next one I would say is probably Digital Ethos, who does a lot of freeform bass with a little hip-hop flair to it, I guess. Next one is More Kismet. He did a lot of live streams for Insomniac last year during the quarantine.
I remember watching those.
Yeah.
Being helpless in your house and not able to go to any festivals.
I think a lot of people are going to be, or I think a lot of people are excited to see him. I don't know for myself. It's not one of my top artists, but it's someone that you should probably look out for. The next one on day 2 is Manila Killa, an Asian artist, obviously with his name, wants you to kind of remember where he came from. I don't know too much about him. I think he'll probably have a slower set. I'm not sure, but we'll see, I guess, when we get there. Another big one for me is going to be Sodown. He is kind of a smaller artist. He kind of infuses reggae, hip hop, soul, funk. He does play the saxophone, which is kind of interesting, and you kind of hear that on his tracks and music, and it actually sounds really good. Another one for me is going to be Jason Leach. He does a lot of keyboard and piano synths. Again, a smaller artist, but one to definitely check out. Now, Yeti, I'm not sure of. I don't follow him. I did look him up a little bit. He's one that I want to kind of see. And then the last one on the list, I think, is Rekno. You probably don't know anything about Rekno.
I don't think I've heard of him.
I looked him up. He's going to be interesting. He is an LGBT artist. He does some vocals, a lot of hip hop. You should check out some of his videos. They're very entertaining. I don't think he's going to disappoint. The only thing I will say is there was one artist that has disappeared from the day lineup in the original lineup, and that one was Spore. And
drum and bass.
yeah, it's Feed Me's drum and bass project, which based on that his name disappearing, I don't think he's going to be on the lineup. So that's kind of a little bit of a disappointment. But you still have a bunch of great artists, throughout this festival that's going to make up for it. But he was definitely someone I wanted to see.
Yeah. I mean, I challenge everybody. I mean, to really go take a look at someone you haven't heard of before or something like that. I mean, because you can really expand your taste and learn a lot actually. And that's usually what I do. At least for me personally. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But I've discovered a lot of really killer artists that, I'm like, who's that? And like, oh, now I'm buying a jersey from them, it's like, but that's the way things go, I guess.
Yeah, as history plays out with Asteria, a lot of these artists, they're gonna explode in the scene. These are the people that are be headlining those huge festivals coming up. So this is really a good way to support those artists as they're coming up and things like that. But let's get on to day 2.
Now on to day 2.
Yeah, so again, I'm not going to be able to talk a lot about the artists because I'm not familiar with the artists on day 2 as much as day 1. But the big one that is headlining is Borgore. I'm not sure if you've heard of Borgore.
I have, yes.
He is a DJ that is from Israel. He plays a lot of dubstep, trap, big room house, metalcore. I know you've heard one of his songs, the Unicorn Zombie Apocalypse that he does with Sick Dope, because we hear that like everywhere we go. But the next one for me that is huge that I really want to see is Kid. I have seen some of his sets. I don't know too much about him, but I know that his sets blow me away. So I am excited to see him.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the next one is Netsky. He is a drum and bass and trap artist. Again, I'm not too familiar with him, but if he plays a lot of drum and bass, or any artist on this lineup that plays drum and bass, I am going to like, because I have been getting into drum and bass. I'm trying to get him into drum and bass a little bit more.
Some of it's been actually pretty cool. I mean, it's there's some artists that have just randomly done drum and bass sets, and I've liked the sound. It's pretty neat. They can do some pretty cool stuff with it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of artists are kind of like dabbling into that. We've seen it in live streams. They're doing it now on some of these festival lineups because it's starting to grow a little bit. So, the next one I think that is going to be highly anticipated too is Chime, dubstep artist, but again, not too familiar with him. The next one that again, I just keep saying I'm not familiar with is Delta Heavy, but that one's on my radar. I do want to see Delta Heavy. Then we have Dusty Cloud, some other ones rounding out, and then one I know you are very familiar with.
It's Lizzie Jane. She's actually our resident DJ here in Tampa right now at the Ritz. So Dev actually used to be in her spot. Dev has gone on to bigger and better things, hopefully, and you always seen him on the lineups. It's really just cool to see, what's going on in your hometown kind of blow up. Well, Lizzie Jane is now the resident DJ at the Ritz, and she's actually on these festivals, and I don't know if it's been passed, the torch has been passed yet, but she may no longer be the resident DJ. I haven't really heard word from that yet, but it's just kind of cool to see in Tampa what's going on, and seeing people around you kind of go to these festivals, be on bigger stages each year, things like that, and just watch them take off. So.
Yeah, Lizzie Jane is still a resident DJ at the Ritz. She's still opening. It's just that we have not been to the Ritz in well over a year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Just due to COVID and things.
Right.
We have been going to some club shows. The Vanguard over in Orlando has been really nice, but we're trying to cut that out and start doing a little more festivals now that they're back.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so enough about that. This is a killer lineup for Asteria, and we are excited to actually go and see some of these artists, and especially in this more smaller and intimate setting than what we're used to when we go to these big festivals. So,
all right, so definitely get your tickets if you haven't already, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, they are going to have some day passes, very, very limited day passes on sale that I was reading. But go out and check out Asteria. They have a Facebook group. Go check their website. You know, the organizer is very active in the Facebook group, which again shows you just what kind of festival this is. I think that's really cool that they're really involved. But yeah, check out some of their stuff. You can go to their website. They have some really cool merch. They did some kind of collaboration and made a cereal. It's called Asterios. So it's a little bit expensive, but it is kind of cool as a souvenir for the festival. So just check all that out. And then, like I said, I don't know if we're gonna film a lot of the sets, you know, like we normally do for our channel. We're gonna try, but we have to be respectful of, you know, the festival, the artists, things like that. So we will do some vlogs. We will show you a lot of what the festival has to offer. So please subscribe, stay tuned, so we can show you all those videos. We're gonna be excited to basically share that kind of stuff with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for being here with us, and we'll see you next time, guys.